Canelo Alvarez in serious trouble, and it looks like reports are showing that Jermall Charlo could get SERGIY DEREVYANCHENKO. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Smash the like button. Head over to the Patreon. Link is in the description of this video. You can also become a YouTube channel member. It's about to go down. YouTube channel member, hit the join button underneath. Now, Mike Coppinger of The Athletic, he posted this fresh news, hot off the presses. Says Jermall Charlo and SERGIY DEREVYANCHENKO are in the process of finalizing a deal for a middleweight title tilt in either September or October, sources tell The Athletic. Big time fight. Derevyanchenko was also in the running for a fight with Canelo Alvarez. So, link will be in the description for this. You have to have a subscription to The Athletic. But Ego Stradamus strikes again. We're having a phenomenal year. I appreciate all y'all for the support. This is a great fight. And the reason why I'm attaching Canelo's name is there were a lot of people who were saying that Canelo and Derevyanchenko were, Derevyanchenko was sent an offer and, making it look like Canelo would fight Derevyanchenko. And I didn't see that fight being likely. And it looks like Ego Stradamus strikes again, like I keep saying, because Derevyanchenko is aligned with the same people as Jermall Charlo. Derevyanchenko doesn't have to move up to 168. The fight with Canelo, the offer from everything that I understand is that Derevyanchenko would have to move up to Canelo's weight. So not only would Derevyanchenko have to go to, the opposing side of the street or whatever you want to call it, he would have to move up a division. We also know how Canelo's team plays in terms of making their fights. Canelo oftentimes has different stipulations, same day weigh-ins, like man-made weigh-ins that he has enacted, things like that. So he's telling his opponent what to do. He's like, hey, I'm the A side, I got special privilege. I work to this, and in that kind of diva-like behavior, right? So all intents and purposes, I just didn't really see the Canelo fight happening, especially over a Jermall Charlo. Derevyanchenko, again, doesn't have to leave 160 where he should be a champion, which we'll get into. So he doesn't have to move up 8 pounds and give up that where Canelo has already fought at 164.5 versus Julio Cesar Chavez. He's already fought at 175 and knocked out Kovalev, even though it looked FAF. And he's already fought Rocky Fielding at 168. So Canelo has more big name, big fight experience at the higher than 160 weights. Derevyanchenko is possible. He probably fought at 161 plus before, but it wasn't against his biggest names. Derevyanchenko's best names on his resume, like Gennady Golovkin and Danny Jacobs and Toriano Johnson, all those fights were contested at regular 160. So this spells trouble for Canelo. As you guys see on the screen, this is an ESPN article, which I will cite in the description box. Smash the like button. It says, Golden Boy promoter, if Canelo fights in September, he's going to make less. And, it looks like we've been on the money with this whole situation. This is Golden Boy in a panic trying to figure out a Canelo opponent and making excuses as to why Canelo has to fight who he has to fight. Look, it says, because it's not like we were a year ago when everything was normal and fine and everything was business as usual. It's not business as usual right now. We're in a pandemic. This is Golden Boy and their biggest star, Canelo I was born ready, Alvarez, and they're struggling to get his opponent. Golden Boy Eric Gomez, president, also said that middleweights Jason Quigley and Toriano Johnson would be in consideration for a fight with Canelo because they're both promoted by Golden Boy. If Canelo Alvarez, no disrespect to Jason Quigley or Toriano Johnson, I don't do a bunch of, disrespecting of the fighters. I respect anyone that laces them up. But we all know that these are poor selections for Canelo, that based on the resume and who Canelo's supposed to be, Some people are still trying to say he's the face of boxing. How could the face of boxing fight Jason Quigley, who just lost last year, right? Who's an unknown, unheralded name where Canelo's been marketed, where the fight would likely take place in America, right? Or TAUREANO Johnson, who got stopped by SERGIY DEREVYANCHENKO, who Jermall Charlo looks like he's about to fight. He got stopped by Curtis Stevens in a fight where he was, it was competitive. He was arguably beating Curtis Stevens. I don't remember round for round, but I remember TAUREANO Johnson was doing well, things like that. And he's not a big name either. Meanwhile, on the flip side, you have Al Heyman, a black advisor, and one of his stars, Jermall Charlo, Big Charlo, and he's close to finalizing the deal. And a lot of old media said that Canelo's the face of boxing, right? And he was going to fight DEREVYANCHENKO. So my question again, since old media get mad at me and say I don't know what I'm talking about, my question is, how is it that Golden Boy has the quote unquote face of boxing according to old media, but the DEREVYANCHENKO Charlo fight, the current news that we have, it looks like Charlo's going to get it. So why wouldn't the face of boxing be able to get whatever he wants and get DEREVYANCHENKO if they're both looking at him? As I've said, Canelo has been mismanaged and handled since joining and doing the pact with DAZN. There is no reason you're the quote unquote, according to old media, face of boxing, yet you're losing out on the fight that you allegedly want. And keep in mind, this article says that Jason Quigley and TAUREANO Johnson are potential candidates for Canelo, but somewhere in this article, they also mention the DEREVYANCHENKO fight and they prefer that. So let me see if I can find it real quick. I've read it before, but I don't know exactly what part of the article it is. So Canelo has this lucrative deal with DAZN, yet can't get the name. And, they're saying, oh, Canelo wants to fight the best and things of that sort, blah, blah, blah. But they're talking about Canelo taking a pay cut. They're talking about he might have to fight Quigley or TAUREANO Johnson, And now, look, they also say for Canelo, there's no sense of urgency given the current climate. What do you mean? Canelo is set to fight in September, or reported to fight in September. How is that not a sense of urgency when you look at the calendar? Today is Monday. There is literally 8 weeks before the second week of September where Canelo might fight. And this could be the nail in the coffin to prove everything that I've been saying if the Charlo DEREVYANCHENKO fight is actually finalized, which is what I projected would be the case. Because in boxing or any business, competition is great. Competition is great. And with competition, you got to rise to the occasion. Charlo versus DEREVYANCHENKO is an awesome fight. Let's talk about it. DEREVYANCHENKO's last fight, he fought Gennady Golovkin. In my honest, humble opinion, he was robbed. He should be a champion right now. So really, Charlo versus DEREVYANCHENKO, if you know boxing and you respect it and you're being fair, Golovkin lost that fight even with the knockdown, because after the knockdown, just like the Jacobs fight, he didn't do better. Like he didn't do good towards the end, and it looked like he was about to get stopped or at least dropped. Right. So we all know DEREVYANCHENKO is a respected name. He gave Jacobs a very tough fight, and he gave Triple G his last fight. Why do you think Triple G? Here's a question. If what I'm saying is false, then one, why did Canelo himself? Look, I could pull all this up. I could pull all of it up. Listen, this is what we do here at New Media. Canelo says DEREVYANCHENKO beat Golovkin. Boom. See how quick I pull this up? Canelo Alvarez uninterested in the third Triple G fight, says SERGIY DEREVYANCHENKO beat him, ESPN. So not only am I saying that DEREVYANCHENKO really beat Golovkin, Canelo himself has said it. And he's on record saying he didn't. Last year, he said, I didn't even want to fight Golovkin. We all know he lost to DEREVYANCHENKO. Look, this is a direct quote. This is not ego speaking. This is Canelo. We saw it. Obviously, for me, DEREVYANCHENKO won the fight, Canelo said through an interpreter on Thursday. He says it was a fight. DEREVYANCHENKO really looked well, Canelo said. It was a fight regarding Triple G. We all know, everyone knows, it's unnecessary to say, but he looked more slow. This is Triple G he's referring to. And I think I gave everyone the pathway to see how to hurt him, which is to the body, and that's what we saw. So Canelo is on wax, new media, saying that Derevyanchenko is the rightful winner, as am I. So I don't want all the Canelo man fans to come in and now, because there's a black fighter like Charlo, who coincidentally old media seems to hate, you know, and now they're going to try to make Charlo versus Derevyanchenko at 160 look like a poor fight. We know that's not the case. Charlo's a beast, and it really should be a unification. Look at the focus. Look at the focus. Charlo look okay. This is a great fight. And it's crazy that, it's crazy. And it's at Derevyanchenko's rightful division. And Charlo's in shape. He just posted this recently. And it's crazy that old media keeps telling you that Canelo's the face of boxing, but they're struggling for his opponent each and every time. Canelo is starting to get passed up by other great fights. You got other fights on the horizon. Charlo, Derevyanchenko looks like it's going down. Errol Spence and Danny Garcia. You got fights like, who else? Leo Santa Cruz versus Gervonta Tank Davis. Even Teofimo Lomachenko, if they can get it done. These fights are now overshadowing what Canelo is doing, given the names that he's being linked with. Even if Canelo fights John Ryder or Caleb Smith, these guys haven't been branded in America. Sergey Derevyanchenko trains in America. He trains in New York, Andre Rozier. And Andre Rozier had another fighter, Danny Jacobs, that had, you know, kind of a run-in with Charlo and stuff. And most importantly, Derevyanchenko has, American audiences are privy to the Derevyanchenko brand because we watched him on HBO with Jacobs. We watched him on DAZN versus Triple G. And we watched him on PBC versus QUIGLEY. And I think even his Deshaun Johnson, Toriano Johnson fights, I think those were even televised as undercards. So this is a great fight for Charlo. It's a great opportunity for Charlo to show separation because we know Derevyanchenko is a beast. We know that Derevyanchenko gave Triple G a difficult ass fight and really beat him. And he gave Jacobs a close, razor thin, close fight. So if Charlo can show some separation and or stop Derevyanchenko, hell of an opportunity. And Derevyanchenko, who was robbed of an opportunity to be a champion right now, his hard work has paid off because now he's right back in the mix because this is the WBC champion of the world. So any way you slice it, no matter, you could be the biggest hater, you got to respect that this is a great fight. Derevyanchenko, absolutely. I've never said anything. I like the Derevyanchenko brand. I like what he's been doing. He absolutely deserves this because, as I mentioned, and Canelo also, he beat Golovkin. So he should be a champion. This should be a unification. So there's nothing anyone can say. So for Canelo, so Saudi, it looks like he's not going to get it. This is a huge fight, probably the most anticipated fight for Charlo since J-Rock, where you have to bow down to a great match, you know. And J-Rock had that type of momentum that Derevyanchenko has, even though Derevyanchenko's technically coming off of a loss. If you respect boxing and you're fair, you know he shouldn't be coming off a loss, especially unanimous decision. Not one judge had it for, that's what made it look fake. Well, not one judge had it for Derevyanchenko, like even a majority or split decision close. We know what it is, you know? And like I said, hats off to Al Heyman, PBC. This is a mega fight. The Charlo train rolls on, Lions Only train rolls on. And I give props to Charlo because he's clearly down to fight the best. Canelo, meanwhile, became the franchise champion, hasn't sent an offer to Caleb Plant, who's in shape right now, hasn't reached out to Charlo, hasn't fought Andrade, who's on his same side of the fence with DAZN. And the Golden Boy president keeps saying the same stuff. Oh, Canelo wants to fight the best, but there's no gate and we're in a pandemic and stuff like that. People don't care about that. We're all in a pandemic. We're all in this together. We have to get through it. Hopefully they, you know, find ways for us to, you know, be able to go outside again in a reasonable time. But you still got to maintain your business. They said UFC 251, Jorge Masvidal versus Usman. They took it to an island. The UFC flew people to Abu Dhabi and got a couple of people on the cards. And it was an anticipated fight for the UFC. So as a result, it did good numbers. The numbers are early numbers are coming back, and they said the UFC 251. Shout out to y'all that bought the ESPN Plus pay-per-view from me, because I seen and I tracked it. We did great. And they said the numbers did 1.3 million or 1.4 million, somewhere around there. So it's more proof that in combat sports, if you make the meaningful fights that people want to see, then even in a pandemic, you can still do good. And that's what boxing has been missing since coming back from the pandemic. We haven't had no good fights, in my opinion. Not saying we haven't had any good fights, but we haven't had any big good fights that people are heavily anticipating. Not just two guys that we don't know who they are and they're scrapping. I know and follow Charlo's whole career, both of them, Jermall and Jermall, and I've followed DEREVYANCHENKO'S career. So this is a branded, ready-made fight. Don't know what Canelo's going to do, but let me tell you, let me be the first to tell you, like I'm always the first to tell you, new media, if Canelo fights some of the lesser names that he's been attached to without brands, this is going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad because, like I said, you can try to hate on Charlo versus DEREVYANCHENKO, but it's a great fight. In fact, Ego Stradamus, here's another fun fact for those that really, my day one A1s that really watch my channel. Well before rumors of this fight, I played Ego Matchmakers on my channel and said Charlo, he would be smart to fight Triple G, or excuse me, to fight DEREVYANCHENKO off of the Triple G fight. I literally said that. Boom, Ego Matchmakers, then it happens. So, you know, I'm at the point, I'm convinced this is not the first time. I think people definitely watching the channel and, you know, getting ideas from me. I'm not saying I put the fight together, because ultimately that doesn't matter. But I'm just telling you, I knew this was a good fight because if you watch my channel, I said a great fight. I've been saying this, you know, especially after DEREVYANCHENKO really beat Triple G. I said, man, DEREVYANCHENKO, you know, Charlo would be wise to try to fight him and show that separation. And now I'm getting my wish. Oh, yeah, we working. Shout out to Charlo. If anything changes, I'll update you. But just another bad look for DAZN. DAZN curse continues. How is the alleged face of boxing, Canelo Alvarez, not able to get fights that he wants? Tells you something. Sign up for ESPN Plus below using the link. It does help the channel. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.